Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here with Midwest Market Management. It is Thursday, May 29th, fixing to turn the calendar into June here, Riley. U.S. weather shaping up overall very well. Moisture is prevalent. Some areas of the country, too much moisture. And for those people, the battle is real. The planting is continuing. But the trade very much looking to chalk this corn crop and soybean crop up as planted. And I think the trade's focus moving forward here will be growing conditions moving forward. Warmer temperatures is what we need. A little dry period here would hurt absolutely nothing for most producers. And I think that's kind of what we're going to get, isn't it, Riley?
Yeah, especially, that Eastern Corn Belt has a little bit of a different story than everybody else. But as we look more at this, the thing we need right now is heat. We've been fairly cool the last 10, 15 days, and we're going to see starting tomorrow that heat that everybody's been asking for, we're going to see. So definitely interesting maps this week. And if you're ready, let's just hop right into it.
Sure thing.
So due to this being a holiday week on Memorial Day on Monday, we did get our numbers on Tuesday afternoon. So quick little update, planting progress at 87% on corn. Only states that are really of any interest, Ohio is at 54% planted versus an average of 73. That's something that we are going to have to continue to watch. And areas, Illinois, due to that southern region in Indiana, same thing to the south. Those areas that have been catching all those rains are starting to show up a little bit more. So maybe something to watch, especially as we go into next week. And as we're starting to approach the ending plant date for corn, maybe that becomes more of an issue. But for right now, I'm not overly concerned. What's your thoughts, Clint? Oh, struggling to hear you there.
Yep. My apologies. Had an issue on my end. Yep. I agree, Riley. We can go ahead and hop into the next map.
Perfect. So next thing here, first week of the year, we have corn conditions out. That eastern region saw 41% out of Ohio. That was kind of not very surprising, but still a pretty low number. And then North Dakota at 48%. And that's due to what I kind of mentioned earlier. We really need some heat, especially in these northern states, to help this corn crop start to pop. A lot of yellow stuff going through that. A lot of guys call it that ugly duckling phase. So some heat would definitely be nice to see. So definitely
I can hear my North Dakota producers saying, "Be careful what you wish for." It wasn't very long ago; it was like 98 degrees up there. So I think they're looking for maybe a little happy medium somewhere between just north of freezing, but a little bit further south of 100 degrees than what they had in April. So let's or mid-May there. So yeah, be careful what we wish for.
Yep. Definitely, but at the same time, still going to need a little bit of heat. Soybean planting progress, not going to spend a lot of time on this, very similar to corn. Those eastern states struggling to get to average, especially Ohio. See, Indiana still ahead of average. Everybody else to the west, well ahead of average, and most people close to wrapped up. So not any big concerns there. Drought monitor map came out. Not any significant changes. The Western Corn Belt does surprise me. Nebraska did catch some solid rains here over the last few days, so I'm surprised to see they're still as heavy in color.
It takes time, for that to catch up. The other thing too is you got a lot of crop in the ground that's thirsty. So that moisture hits and it gets sucked up very rapidly. So they need repetitive over and over and over again moisture events to really start to change that.
Yep. So interesting to keep an eye on too, that northern chunk of Illinois, which a lot of crop grown in that region, starting to turn a little bit darker in color. So worth keeping an eye on, but not a concern yet. Moving into the 1 to 5 day, I kind of mentioned we need some heat. And if you're looking at this, 80 degrees throughout almost the entire corn belt except the east. This is spot on what you need. Help get that yellow corn fixed. They have the moisture they need pretty much everywhere right now. Heat is exactly what's needed. Have seen too, talking with some local agronomists, a lot of unevenness in corn, especially stuff planted in that pre-April rain time frame. So getting some heat to help get stuff caught up, definitely good to see and will definitely help out. But some people are starting to argue that top line yield might be gone due to unevenness. I'm not a believer in that. But
well, the top line yield is gone every year. The question is, what's the top line yield? That national yield of 205, 210, like what are we subtracting from? Every year, top line yield's gone.
So great question to ask, but definitely heat is fixing a lot of the issues that are out there right now. So moving in the 6 to 10 day, a little bit cooler, but stuff in the 70s is still adequate to help plant growth. So not any big concerns there at this time. As we move in, last 13 days of rainfall, not really anything new here. That western corn belt, Kansas and Nebraska caught some of those rains earlier this week. Other than that, there's not really anything new on this. One thing to note, Clint, maybe you have some more knowledge on this. Oklahoma looks like they've really been pelted. Is there some wheat concern down there?
Well, I'm not, I don't have any buddy that I've talked to recently in that immediate area, but yeah, I would think that, I know the panhandle of Texas was starting wheat harvest. So usually that much moisture late in the game on wheat is not a good thing. But again, boy, that's, that's a pretty isolated area in the grand scheme of all the wheat in this country. And whatever's getting lost is probably getting added in Kansas. And the other thing to note here, Riley, is when it gets that wet late on wheat, it becomes a quality issue. So it's more of a basis situation, if you will, than a futures driving type of an situation. You know what I'm saying? It's not affecting the Chicago price. It will be dealt with, but more in the cash markets.
Gotcha. So thanks for that. So moving ahead, surface soil moistures, not a whole lot new on these. I'm kind of going to gloss over these. The west caught some rain, so they're a little bit more wet. Subsoil showing very similar things to what we've seen the last couple of weeks. Now into the 1 to 5 day. This is something that I found kind of interesting looking at different weather models here this morning. Euro and GFS kind of showing some differences. That eastern corn belt that's already struggling right in that 5 to 6 day window, looking to get some more rains. So I don't know if that's going to keep them out of the field or not. But as we move into the 6 to 10, those southern regions that already have been getting a decent amount of precipitation, looking to get some more. I wouldn't really call that wanted at this point, but for areas like Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, if they're going to get an inch to inch and change of rain, that's definitely beneficial, I would say. Definitely would say that this could be handled. I mean, an inch of rain could be soaked in pretty quickly. So not any big concern.
Especially with some 80-degree temps in the happening.
Yes.
And then the other thing to point out, so this is ending on the 7th of June, right? So if that rain materializes, that's just bought a little bit more time, and now you're getting into 15th to even as late as 25th, 30th of June before we're really even getting concerned if we don't get any more rain.
Yep. So moving into 1 to 13 shows a bit more of a darker picture here because it combines that 1 to 5 and that 6 to 10, that Eastern Corn Belt, I'm very interested to see how that planning progress comes out next week. But on a national scale, I would not say this is a serious issue. I mean, like
Yep.
you and I did that special broadcast, if you're in that region, you're really unhappy and you're having a tough go of it. But for everybody else, it's grain makes grain right now. So
10-4.
other,
Well, I appreciate you putting these together, Riley. We will be back on here Tuesday to let you know how we start out the week. It'll be a full trading week, so we should have crop progress reports available on Tuesday next week. If you want to receive these text message to you, you can hit us up at midwestmarketmanagement.net. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks a lot.
This material has been prepared by a sales or trading employee or agent of Midwest Market Management and is in the nature of a solicitation. This material is not a research report prepared by of Midwest Market Management Research Department. By accepting this communication, you agree that you are an experienced user of the futures markets, capable of making independent trading decisions, and agree that you are not and will not rely solely on this communication in making trading decisions. Distribution in some jurisdictions may be prohibited or restricted by law. Persons in possession of this communication indirectly should inform themselves about and observe any such prohibition or restrictions. To the extent that you have received this communication indirectly and solicitations are prohibited in your jurisdiction without registration, the market commentary in this communication should not be considered a solicitation. The risk of loss in trading futures and/or options is substantial, and each investor and/or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated by simulated historical tests of strategies, is not indicative of future results. Trading advice is based on information taken from trades and statistical services and other sources that of Midwest Market Management believes are reliable. We do not guarantee that such information is accurate or complete, and it should not be relied upon as such. Trading advice reflects our good faith judgment at a specific time and is subject to change without notice. There is no guarantee that the advice we give will result in profitable trades.